Hi, this is Randy from Friday's Golf, and welcome to Over Easy. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk about unboxing that I did a little while back, where basically I opened up a box, I pulled a box out of that box, and then didn't open the second box. So I want to let you in a little bit on, one, what was inside that box, and two, what I plan to do with that product on my channel going forward. So without any further delay, let me introduce you to the OneWheel Plus. I have been absolutely obsessed with this product here for the last week or so. I've been low-key on the channel, I haven't made a lot of content, and primarily because I have been riding this obsessively. First, let's start out by introducing you to the OneWheel Plus and talk about specifically how it operates and the functionality of it. This is not an endorsement. I do want to let you know that I am not being paid by OneWheel. OneWheel actually didn't even give me this, so this is not any kind of a promo piece or anything. It's just something that I had seen and it inspired me. So a question I can imagine that all of you have is, what the heck is a OneWheel? That's a great question because I actually struggle to describe it to people. It's because it's kind of like an electronic skateboard, but it's also like a hoverboard, but it's also like none of those things. It's unique to itself, and what I mean by that is that I've never seen anything like it before, where you have this rubber tire on the bottom. It's got no tread, it's a racing tire, so it's very friendly on really all surfaces. And then inside that you have what's called a hub motor. I'm not going to pretend like I know all the engineering that goes into this thing. I just know that there's a lot. So let me give you a tutorial of how the OneWheel works. But keep in mind that I am not trained nor authorized to give you this information, so everything I'm saying, just assume that it's not true. But this is just my experience with it. At rest position, the OneWheel sits like this on the ground. And as you place your foot on the back pad here, you then place your foot on the front pad, where you'll see that there's a line that runs right down the middle. And what you need to do is you need to cover each side of that line with your foot, otherwise the OneWheel doesn't think that anyone's on it. So you have to cover that, and then as you do, you just kind of stand up on it slowly and you'll feel the motor engage. It's super quiet, you can't really hear it at all, you can more feel it. The only noise that this thing generates really is the friction of the tire to whatever surface you're riding on. I can't really describe to you the sensation when you first get up on it. It really feels like you're floating. I don't know if any of you have ever like paddleboarded. It's kind of that feeling where you feel stable, but at the same time, it's just, Once you're up on your OneWheel, the next mission is to move in a designated direction, and you do that simply by leaning in that direction. So once you're in that kind of hover position, that's what I call it, you just lean, and as you lean, you start to move forward. The more you lean, the faster you go. Now, if you get going too fast, you can just simply lean back the other direction. The OneWheel will brake for you, and then you kind of go back into that hover position, and then you can travel in the other direction. But you just don't want to go in straight lines all the time. You have to turn eventually, and you do that simply by rolling from, a neutral position to your toes or your heels, much like you would on a skateboard. I feel like the more experience you've had with like skateboards or wakeboards or snowboards, the more comfortable you're going to feel on this almost immediately. I have very minimal experience with all of those things, but I have ridden all of them enough to where I feel comfortable on them. So me picking up on this, it took really no time at all. This handles all terrain. It goes on concrete, gravel, grass, dirt, trails, uphill, downhill. It has amazing power, and it is not a toy. Now that you have a little bit of understanding of how this thing operates and how it functions, I want to talk about how it handles on the course, because when I took this out, I was very scared that I wasn't going to be able to ride it like I envisioned riding it. That couldn't have been any further from the truth. As soon as I hopped on this, I put my bag on my back. It felt very stable. On the course itself, this thing handles phenomenally. It goes uphill, goes downhill, it rides in rough, it rides in the fairway, it rides everywhere. But I do want to mention that the golf course that I tried this out on, the very first thing I did was I went to the owner, I pulled him out in the parking lot, I gave him kind of a demo of how it works, I told him like, this is what I want to do with it, what are your thoughts? And he was super excited. He was like, that's really cool. He's like, yeah, take it out. And he's like, you can take it up as close to the green as you want to, because obviously after inspecting the tire, and this is like 1/100th of the weight of a golf cart. He's like, yeah, you're not gonna hurt anything on that. I want to end this week's episode by talking about who the OneWheel is not for. The OneWheel is not for Scuba Steve, for example. He would struggle to stand on a skateboard and just stand there on it. So anyone that's like that, this is not for you. This is for people that are comfortable on a skateboard or snowboard or have experience on one of those things, because my dad, although completely oblivious to those things, is also a very confident person. And I didn't have a camera rolling at the time because he did it so instantly. I was teaching my younger brother to ride it, who has some previous experience on said skateboards or snowboards, and he got on it and he was a little shaky at first, but then he got the hang of it and was riding around the yard. And of course my dad's like, I'll do that. My dad, who's very, very confident, is like, give me that thing. He walks over to it like he has ridden it 100 times before. He puts his foot on the back pad. He puts his foot almost down on the front pad, and I already see what's going to happen. I run up behind him and I cradle him underneath his arms just as he puts his foot down on the front pad. As he starts to engage the board, immediately he realizes it's a bad idea. I can't even explain to you the terror that I heard in his voice. This is not like, oh, this is crazy. He was terrified, and he's like, his voice cracked, and he's like, get me off this thing. So I'm like holding him up and trying to tell him how to disengage the board, and he's freaking out. And eventually we get him off of it, and it's not for everybody. So that concludes this week's episode. Hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what the OneWheel is and what I plan to do with it going forward. It's just something that I think can help make the course vlogs more interesting. I think I can get some more, some interesting shots and content, and hopefully up the production value of the channel and just make everything a little bit more watchable, and really to just to reach a broader audience, because I think there's a lot of dads out there that want to play golf with their kids or their teenagers, but all their kids want to do are like ride skateboards or do something like that. I think this is a good way to kind of tie those two together. I promise that eventually I will stop talking about this every single opportunity that I get, but right now I'm in that honeymoon phase. I'm obsessed with it. I love riding it, which is a good thing, because not only am I interested in riding it, but it also gets me out to the golf course more, because I know that when I go to the course, I'm taking this with me and I'm riding it. So I'm excited not only to play golf, but I'm excited to ride this. So it kind of just steps it up to the next level. And hopefully you guys are excited too. So thanks for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video. If you have any questions or comments, put them down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer them, but please know that I am not a professional nor experienced OneWheel Plus rider. I am simply a fan. So thank you, and I will see you guys next time.